Stephen Ministry exists to give one-on-one Christian care to men and women who are in need. We're here to listen, to support, and to comfort individuals when they're in a crisis.
In August of 2006, my family and I moved so we could spend more time together. 3 weeks after the move, my 16-year-old son died by suicide.
Stephen Ministers are dependable caregivers. While they're not professional counselors or therapists, they are trained and supervised lay volunteers.
I was devastated. I missed my son so deeply. While I found the strength to meet the needs of my family, there was no one here for me.
Each caregiver has been given 50 hours of instruction before they're even approved to become a caregiver. We attempt to match the needs of the individual with the background of the caregiver. In most cases, the caregiver has successfully walked through the same crisis that the individual is experiencing.
A Stephen minister contacted me. He'd been in a similar situation in his own life and had found healing. There were no requirements, no pressure was put on me. I was free to share my fears and my pain in my own way. I could pick up the phone any time, day or night, and know that he'd be there.
Stephen Ministers keep all personal information confidential. We want men and women to feel completely free to share their stories.
My Stephen minister helped support my faith and my life when I needed it the most. He helped me put my life back together. I couldn't have done it without him.
Stephen Ministers are here after the divorce papers have been served, after the pink slip is in your hand, and after that relationship has hit the wall. We are ready to come alongside of you and support you as long as we are needed.
Life can be very hard. Sometimes people die. There's a lot of uncertainty. Life's not very predictable. If you're like me, you feel stress often. You don't know what the future holds. You're worried about what people think about you. You have grief in your life that you don't really know how to get through. And it can be hard. You need a friend. You need someone to talk to. And I know that when I've gone through lonely periods in my life, times where I'm just kind of by myself with all my worries, with all my fears, it kind of consumes me, it kind of eats me alive. But then there's other times where I've been fortunate enough to have people that kind of come alongside me, that I can vent, that I can kind of just spew my junk out and just say, hey, this is what I'm going through. So the Stevens Ministry is a group of people who care. They're trained. They're not pastors, they're not professionals in the sense of being a therapist or a counselor. But they're definitely there to care for people, no matter what your issue is. So if you're having a rough time coping with loss, with grief, with stress, Stephen's Ministry is for you. If there are things that you're wrestling through, things that are plaguing you, things that are preventing you from getting the kind of sleep that you want to get every night, if you don't have a clear conscience about stuff, Stephen's Ministry is for you.
February the 6th, 1991 is a day that I'll never forget. It's the date when I discovered our 18-year-old son, Denny, had died in his sleep. My world was turned upside down as me and my whole family struggled for years to find a new normal. To be honest, my life was a mess as I struggled with my anger toward God and my feelings of total despair. People would often come to me and ask me how my wife Beulah and Andy were doing. And I wondered when someone would come and ask how I was doing. And then one day it happened. Ed Downs came to me and said, Dennis, I want to meet you at Jumpin' Catfish. And so we met there, and after we'd ordered our food, he turned, looked me straight in the eye, and he said, now Dennis, I want to know how you're doing. I can still remember the kindness in his eyes when he showed a sincere interest in me and what I was going through. And across the years, I've come to realize how important it is to have someone to journey with us when we go through the valleys and the tough times. And as pastors here at the church, we have people coming in nearly every day with stories that can break your heart. People who have just received the diagnosis of cancer, stories of unemployment, sadness because a loved one has died. We hear stories of divorce, and we see the pain on the faces of those who've been rejected by someone who once loved them. Well, the list goes on, and sometimes as pastors, we feel like firemen, just running from one fire to another. To be honest, we need help with dealing with some of the tough things that life throws at us. However, I often hear people say, I want to help, but I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. We have a wonderful ministry here at the church called the Stephen Ministry. And in this ministry, Stephen Ministry is matched up one-to-one, a man with a man, a woman with a woman. And the Stephen Ministry is given 50 hours of training, and then we commission them, and then we assign them to one of these hurting people. And you meet with them at least an hour a week. We provide excellent training so that you know how to be a good listener and you know how to deal with the grief of the person that you're with. You learn what to say and what not to say. Stephen ministers are not therapists, but they know how to be fully present with people in a confidential way. Across the years, I've noticed that those people who have gone through the hard places, they're the ones who are best able to help those who are going through them now. So if you've been wounded by some of the tragedies of life, I hope that you will consider taking this training so that you too can be a part of this Stephen Ministry team and that you too can become a wounded healer. I encourage you to stop by the table, pick up that packet, talk to one of our Stephen ministers, and then pray about this matter. This may be just the ministry that you've been looking for.
Life can be very hard. Sometimes people suffer, sometimes people die. There's a lot of uncertainties. Life's not very predictable. You have grief in your life that you just don't know how to get through. You know, it could be hard. You need a friend, just someone to talk to. I know when I've gone through lonely periods in my life, when I'm just kind of by myself with all my worries, fears, and doubts, that's all I think about. It kind of consumes me, it eats me alive. But there's been other times where I've had people come alongside me, just let me vent, and really just spill out my junk and say, hey, this is what I'm going through. The Stephen's Ministry is a group of people who care. Not pastors or professionals, in a sense, like they're counselors or therapists, but they certainly are people who care, no matter what your issue is. If you don't have a clear conscience about things, Stephen Ministry is for you.
Since we began Stephen Ministry 20 years ago, I can go to sleep at night knowing that there are about 20 people receiving quality Christian care from a Stephen minister. Now, I, as a pastor, don't have another 20 hours a week that I can give in order to give them that kind of quality of care. And so it's just a delight to know that they're being taken care of in their time of need.
As Joy bundles up to brave the cold weather, she shares some warm thoughts with her new friend Janet. See, they both have something in common. They went through critical times in their lives where they needed more than just a friend. And fortunately for them, their churches had just what they needed.
I was a teacher, and I retired a little early because I wasn't doing my job the way I expected to be doing it. I wasn't doing it well. And just shortly after I retired, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor.
It was during that difficult time in Joy's life that someone from a new ministry in her church contacted her, simply offering companionship.
For me, it was very important. It was absolutely important. Each minister from this church came, but they can't come every week. You don't expect that. friends tended to stay away because my face was bloated. I couldn't remember things. I wasn't the person they remembered. And some of them were not comfortable coming around. Others came around and brought me wholesome food and encouraged me and so on, and we laughed. But we didn't talk about things of the heart as I did with my Stephen minister. It's a different relationship.
Many of us expect that if something were to happen to us, our pastor would be the first person to respond. And in most cases, that's true. But after he or she has moved on to the next person in need, there is often still a desire for someone to talk to. And that's what Stephen ministers provide.
Having a Stephen minister is somebody to walk with them through that dark period in their life, that they're not alone, that somebody cares enough to take time and to spend with them. And when the initial crisis takes place, they are told, you call me day or night, I'll be there for you. And that's very reassuring to people.
It's ministries like this one that urges members of the church to reach out to others, especially in times of need. That's what Reverend Bethune has seen over the years since introducing Stephen Ministries to his local church.
Oh, wow. That's true.
Started in 1975 in St. Louis, Missouri, Stephen Ministry consists of members of local churches that are trained to provide care and support to those who have gone through traumatic experiences, from losing a loved one, a job, or even going through an illness, like Joy.
But I expected to recover very quickly, and really it took me much longer than I expected. And my Stephen minister kept encouraging me and, get up and walk, and are you doing your exercises? And she brought me readings, not long things because I couldn't concentrate too much, but prayers, and I know she brought me some Bonhoeffer to read. She just was always encouraging and listening.
And for many, an ear is all they need. Janet Wright Smith was also in need of someone to come alongside her during one of her darkest moments.
Well, about 11 years ago, I developed a chronic illness, and it has peaks and valleys. And when it's peaks, I'm still out there and I'm still me. And when it's valleys, it's much more secluded lifestyle. And I'm a very communal, extroverted kind of person, and illness is often quite isolating. To have someone desiring to intentionally reserve a piece of time just for me, that they would stop by. We have dogs, and my Stephen minister would bring her dog. And it was just wonderful to have her time.
And that's what Stephen Ministry intends to provide, a safe place. The ministers go through an intense job interview process and through several hours of training where they're taught the importance of privacy. In fact, the whole ministry is kept confidential.
I don't think most people are going to tell you anything that is very serious and significant in their life if you don't assure them it's going to be confidential. And that's true of Stephen Ministry. I think that's important for us to remember that in the church.
So far, there are over 10,000 congregations with the Stephen Ministry, and it continues to grow annually. Reverend Thomas Kay, pastor of Knox Presbyterian Church in Guelph, Ontario, says this ministry is about equipping their members so that they can support each other as well.
And we felt there was a real need out there for people to have someone walk with them, and a need for people who wanted to help but didn't know how, and were afraid of doing the wrong thing, or didn't know what to say if they did help. And so there was a need to provide real equipping and training for ministry. And Stephen Ministry, the program was the vehicle that allowed us to do that, to equip people to do ministry, not simply sit in the pews and hear about ministry.
That doesn't mean the pastor stops visiting and supporting those in need.
Yes, certainly.
But Stephen ministers are able to dedicate their efforts to one particular person for a significant amount of time.
Most ministers are a bit like firemen or policemen. They go from crisis to crisis. A death occurs and they're there. But then they're called away. There's another death, they have another funeral, and so on. But the Stephen minister is someone there who will stay with that person as long as they need them. Most people, to deal with death probably takes 2.5 to 3 years to really deal with the loss they've experienced of a loved one. And so the Stephen minister is there during that period of time. And while people will survive without it, there are fewer scars. Healing takes place. And what we make clear is that we're the caregivers. Jesus is a caregiver.
I think it's really important because there's a lot of people within the church or outside the church that are in a crisis, that need people, that just need someone to sit beside them, to listen to them and be a friend to them and pray with them or just be with them, offer a cup of cold water. Yeah, just give them God's love.
That's what Joy received from her Stephen minister just a few years ago. And now healthy and whole, she knows this ministry helped her get to where she is today.
I heard that God cared for me, and she was a representative of God to me.
Not too strong for you.
In Guelph, Ontario, Magdalene John, 100 Huntley Street.
The members of the congregation have all these wonderful gifts. So what would happen if you were to train and equip and mobilize these individuals to focus on caring for other people? What would happen? And it's out of that matrix that Stephen Ministry emerged. Stephen Ministry is all about recognizing crisis in human lives, that these things happen, crises happen, and we equip people to help those individuals face and handle their crises. With Stephen Ministry in the local church, there are many, many benefits. Stephen Ministry will empower. It will empower the individual. Stephen Ministry simply recognizes that people have needs. They equip another individual to minister and to care for people.
Sometimes it's a death, sometimes a divorce or the process of divorce. Sometimes it's a job loss, moving to a new place. A brand new baby can become a crisis. Just such a variety of things that people go through in a lifetime.
Our common reaction when we have problems is to say, I'll just tough it out. I can do it myself. And yep, you probably can. But why not have somebody walk with you and meet with you and help you and pray with you to help you through this period of time?
So this is a very difficult period of time. It was a very much a crisis time in my life. I'm a clinical psychologist. You know, I talk to others, but I need someone that I could talk to as well. What I would say to others is don't be afraid, particularly to the men, don't be afraid to reach out and get help. You know, without that, I wouldn't have stayed grounded, would have been very discouraged. It was a very up and down, it was very much a roller coaster ride for a 2-year period of time. And it's important to be able to accept help from other people.
The greatest gift that I received from my caregiver was the fact that he just really listened to me. He let me talk about some of the deepest pain that I had in a way that I never thought I'd be able to talk about with anybody. He just made it very easy for me to want to talk, and I learned that frankly just being able to have somebody to talk to and to share all of this with was a great way for me to begin that healing process and to be able to move on and to get beyond the pain that I was feeling stuck in at that time.
I think we really did love and care and respect each other from the very beginning. And I think our relationship was based on trust and the confidentiality. I knew where my care receiver was, so I was also trying to get her to believe in herself again through Christ, to get her to smile, to watch God work, and to help me not fix anybody. And you taught me more than you will ever know. Your one-liners were terrific.
I think you're the teacher.
By the time someone comes for asking for a Stephen minister or deciding that that might be helpful, probably we have trained people for 50 hours, and we get to know them very well. And so in terms of matching up, it has partly to do with personality, with experience.
One of the things about Stephen Ministry that I think is really effective is the fact that you're not out there by yourself when you're meeting with your care receiver. You go and you meet with the people, but then you go back and talk to a group about it.
And what's going well in a caring relationship, what's not going well.
You have confidentiality, so you don't use names and you're very careful about what you say. You know, there certainly is accountability and there's reinforcement and encouragement, as well as training. But I've really found the group meetings very uplifting. I mean, it's a group that I go to where I feel good about going to it.
In truth, the individual who serves and decides to become a Stephen minister really is called by God. God leads us to become a Stephen minister when He feels we have the empathy, we have the love, we have the ability to give care to others. So I don't think we can choose to become a Stephen minister necessarily if God does not instill within us the fire and the desire and the realization that we have the abilities if we have faith that He will lead us and be with us all the time.
The Stephen Ministry program actually is one of the more exciting things about being in the church. So it's always wonderful to know that if I encounter someone who's going through a profound sense of loss or grief or anger or fear or just getting stuck in life from the issues of life, that I know that I can call on our Stephen ministers to come alongside me and to come alongside this person. So I see myself working in tandem with our Stephen ministers, and it's just a great thing to know that we have it here at First Pres.
Stephen Ministry is a place where people can come who are hurting. Could be from a loss of a family member, it could be a loss of a job.
It's a caring ministry. It's for people who are going through crisis in their life.
As a caregiver in the Stephen Ministry, I walk alongside and show Christ's love to the care receivers.
Typically, the care receiver themselves comes up with the answer, but it is process-oriented, not results-oriented. We're not there to fix them.
But they need a Christian friend to sound it out and to listen to them in a confidential manner. Typically, we will meet with our care receivers about an hour and a half a week.
It's an opportunity for the person to just share whatever they're ready for that day. And if they're not ready, they're not ready. The key is to make them feel very comfortable.
To listen to them intently.
And ask her, what are your prayer needs? What should we pray for this week? And during my prayer time, I pray for her.
That's the gift that Christ gives us, the gift of mercy.
No one likes to go through pain alone, and it's a good opportunity to lead them to Christ if they're not already, or to strengthen their walk.
We are the caregiver, and Christ is in the center as the cure giver in all the situations.
We can help them to be uplifted and be closer to God through this crisis.
He's using me and the other Stephen ministers as His ambassadors to show that He does exist and that He does love His children.
And it's just very rewarding to know that you've helped someone walk a very difficult path and to get them to the other side.
I'm a member of St. Andrews, and the reason why I'm on camera right now is for what St. Andrews and the Stephen Ministry has done for me over the last couple of years. A few years ago, I was on top of the world. My family business had two of the most profitable years in our 62-year history. I was married to the love of my life, Renee, and we had a beautiful baby girl, Kenzie. And the doctors had just told us that Renee was pregnant with our second child. I was living the dream. The economy took its toll on our company. And with the tightening of credit and the sales declining, we were hemorrhaging greatly. Later on that year, October 9th, 2008, 10 days after the birth of our son, Caden, we had devastating news that Renee had stage 4 colon cancer. I remember being at the hospital, and we were put in the women's wing and not the oncology wing. It was odd, but we were at the hospital looking out through the window. And from her room, I can see the cross of St. Andrew's. And I knew it meant something. During her surgery, her first surgery, I had family and friends there, but I knew I needed to get over to St. Andrews, and I drove over, and fortunately they had the Go weekend where they're introducing Deerfield Hall, or else probably nobody would have been on campus, but I had a chance to speak with Leah. And through that meeting, they introduced me to Stephen Ministries. And through Stephen Ministry, I've always had somebody to walk alongside me and to work with me and to comfort me and give me spiritual guidance. 18 months later, on April 21st, 2010, after a courageous battle, Renee lost her life to cancer. 3 months later, even though we threw it all in to try to save our company, we were forced to close the family business. But through it all, I had the support of so many, family and friends and business acquaintances. But at times that wasn't enough. And I'm so thankful that Stephen Ministry was there for me. You can say I've had a couple of tough years. I'm not alone. Many people have faced similar circumstances and felt similar pain. It's just the way life is. I'm thankful 2010 is over. The Lord worked in me. I grew from it. And I'm ready for the next chapter in my life.